Yeah, hey guys. Here's a set of headers on a Toyota 1HZ diesel. Now, these aren't really put onto four-wheel drive diesels like this for the sake of power, although it does actually improve your overtaking ability with this vehicle, on highway speeds. But really this is to improve fuel efficiency and lower the fuel consumption. So this particular 2.7 tonne Landcruiser gets about 29 miles to the gallon at highway speeds, which is pretty good, I think, for a vehicle of this class, permanent full drive, all that sort of thing. Now, the way that this is achieved is relatively simple, and you can sort of guess what these things do by their name in Australia. We tend to call them extractors here rather than headers. Now, extractors do just that. Instead of just having the exhaust gas pushed out of the cylinder by the piston coming up and pushing the exhaust gas out, you have a smaller diameter pipe here. Well, actually it's bigger than the standard pipe, but nonetheless you get a pipe of a small diameter and a certain length coming down here into what's called a collector. You see where my finger's pointing, which is a large diameter. Now this is the double Y design because it's a 6-cylinder engine and it's fairly long, so to keep these pipe lengths short. The length of these pipes will change where the maximum horsepower in the engine is developed. So in order to achieve the right length of pipe here, you have a double Y design. Now what happens is it comes into these two collectors here, and then those two collectors have got a large pipe going down to another collector further down the exhaust system. But the net result is that you have basically smaller pipes taking exhaust gas from the engine. As the piston pushes up on one cylinder, it pushes the gas down this smaller pipe and it gets to the collector, which is a larger diameter. Now, if you understand anything about gas flow, you know that as it moves from a smaller diameter pipe to a larger diameter pipe, the exhaust gas flow reduces in pressure. Now, that's on this one cylinder. But there are other cylinders connected here, also waiting to exhaust gas from the engine. So, in fact, you end up with, compared to standard, you get basically a partial vacuum behind the exhaust valve, waiting for the exhaust gas to be pushed out of the engine. In other words, when all 6 cylinders are running in sync and these collectors are full of exhaust gas flowing through and reducing in pressure, the exhaust gas is actually sucked or extracted from the engine. That's a bit simplistic, but that's basically what happens. So you visualise how that improves fuel efficiency. It means the gas can move through the engine a lot smoother, and as a result you get an improvement in volumetric efficiency, and in this case you get a much lower fuel consumption and a bit more horsepower out of it. Now, something you should be aware of with header installations is that you're actually changing the fuel metering. As you're sucking gas more efficiently out of one side of the engine, it means that fuel can come in at a different rate on the other side of the engine. Now, these engines here are pretty well unburstable, and although this has done 250,000 kilometres, this engine, normally it wouldn't require any maintenance. They've got that reputation. But this one has had a reconditioned mechanical fuel injector pump, as you can see. That's basically a brand new fuel injector pump. Now, they had to put this in because when they originally fitted the extractors, they didn't change anything in the metering of the fuel. Now, over a long period of time, this actually messed up all the seals on the inside of the injector pump. So the people who owned this previous to me buying it opted to simply have the fuel injection pump reconditioned and recalibrated. So if you're fitting extractors, whether that's to a petrol engine or a diesel or whatever, just bear in mind that if you're getting exhaust gas being sucked out that way more efficiently, it means that it alters the fuel metering on this side. So one thing should be matched to the other. But other than that, it's a terrific thing. It's free once it's installed. I mean, it doesn't have any working or moving parts, it just basically works. Now, something that I'll mention to you that I've done to improve things or maintain the efficiency of the system that the previous owner hadn't done is that I've changed the mufflers. Now, you'll observe this is not a standard Toyota four-wheel drive muffler. This is a straight through hot dog style muffler. Because the pipe comes basically through and there's just a fibre, you know, I don't know what it is, some sort of insulation around the outside to absorb sound. I've got two of these mufflers in the system, so it's a little bit noisier than the standard system, although I quite like that. But because the pipe is straight through, rather than having the bypass design that you have in a normal Toyota muffler, you maintain the efficiency of the gas flow through the system that the extractor or header is providing for you. So, you know, like, you've got to bear in mind, you change one thing, you really got to try and carry through with equal changes throughout the engine, otherwise you're not going to get the full benefit of these things. In fact, what happens normally is people put extractors on the Landcruisers like this, and the standard muffler is a great big thing with a bypass design, and because of the additional volume or velocity of gas flow, the internals of the mufflers blow out. They start rattling after about 2 or 3 years. You know, they wear out prematurely, the mufflers, so really, even for the sake of long-term durability, you're better off to go to these straight-through type mufflers. Anyway, that's headers on a Toyota Landcruiser.